Reports have officially been released stating that the Chicago Bulls bench is not the bench that's going to get it done when we come to a playoff push. Down the stretch, the Bulls are fighting for each and every single win to make it past that play-in spot, and depth is definitely going to be an issue. We're going to break down everything you need to know on that in this episode of Bulls Digest. I'm your host, Joey Mercer, and before we get into it there today, I just want to say that about 76% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and every single time we upload, you'll be able to stay up to date with your Chicago Bulls and our takes on them. So without further ado, let's get the topic at hand there today being much needed bench depth. Now, we've talked pretty heavily about the stars, quote-unquote, on this team, such as DeRozan having to re-sign in the offseason, Lavine on his big contract being injured once again, and we've even talked about the surgence of players like Coby White, who might be the most improved player this season. I think he will be. Ayo Dosunmu stepping into a role while Lavine's out. But we haven't talked too much about the actual bench and the production we're getting out of them. We're really talking about the starters or the top star players on this team, and not really the guys that add some extra depth. We've kind of touched on some prospects, but realistically, are the prospects and the bench players we have right now going to be enough come play-in or playoff time? I'm not so sure, and neither is this article. The one that we'll be citing here today is from Bulls Wire saying, do the Chicago Bulls need a bench upgrade by Justin Quinn? Now, this one was on Yahoo Sports, if you would like to check out the full article yourself. We can see here it says at least one prominent NBA analyst seems to think so, and we can't help but agree. Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey doesn't like what he sees on the Bulls bench this season, and while the reserves not currently playing as starters have had their moments, they also tend to fade in and out of, noting that the Bulls don't have enough high-end talent to overwhelm opponents with their starting lineup. The fact that Chicago is often at a deficit when they start working their second-teamers into the mix, Bailey makes the case that Chicago could use some help from the deep rotation players on the roster already. He's perhaps also hinting that the front office add new faces in the team's bench mob as well. And it doesn't seem like, based on previous reports, that they will be doing this season. They've already added Andrew Funk on a two-way contract coming out of Grand Rapids. And now we also have, of course, Onralps Bateen, who is playing pretty solid, had a really good full debut, not that game against the Celtics, but the one where he played, in both double overtimes against Cleveland, but overall his field goal percentage has been great, and it's been a very low amount of attempts. Now, is that what they're comfortable with going down the stretch? I'm not so sure, and it really is a bit of a head-scratcher to see that the Bulls haven't acquired anybody out of the buyout market just to kind of help that bench unit. It doesn't have to be a long-term, situation. It could be something that could help us just this season down the stretch, and even a veteran that could help mentor some of the young guys. The Bulls desperately need something like that right now, and they're basically crying for some extra minutes on that bench. I mean, it's really rough seeing DeMar, Coby White, and even Vooch on certain nights playing over 40 minutes a game. That isn't exactly what you want to see out of this team, especially a guy like DeMar who's starting to get older now. You're just going to shorten the length of his career when he still seems to have plenty of time left in the tank. Next thing we saw in this one was they need these reserves to provide a consistent spark, and that isn't happening enough, he suggests correctly. Chicago can add buyout talent during the rest of the regular season and sign some new players outright in the offseason. Until that happens, leaning into player development is the next best way to a similar goal, and one the Bulls have been leaning into. And yeah, I mean, they've tried what they can with Dalen Terry. A few opportunities for Julian Phillips, but not too many so far in his rookie season. Ayo's starting to play really good, and he's still very young. And Coby White is on the uprise, of course, and is still very young. Patrick Williams injured once again. Might be soon time to give up on him. But even so, there is some young talent on this team that the Bulls can definitely find that untapped potential and really tap into it, find what they're capable of doing, and have them be important pieces on this team for years to come. Now, when we look into the next part of this I'm going to be discussing, we can see that So far, there's a lot of minutes being played by these top guys. You can see Lavine in the 25 games he played was playing 35 minutes a game, which is more than enough. DeRozan in 60 games this year, 38 minutes a game. Kobe White, 37 minutes a game. Vucevic, 35 minutes a game. And then we can see Caruso playing 27, starting 40 of those. Patrick Williams starting 30 games at 27. And Asumu has started a lot since Zach Lavine has gone down, of course, at 21 starts and 27 minutes per game. Torrey Craig's only started 8 games and Drummond 10 himself. Most of those had to do with absences, except for Craig, who they tried something different early on, as opposed to having Patrick Williams in there. Now, when we look at actual bench production, I'm not going to be using Zach Lavine or Patrick Williams as starters in this case, because both of those players are out for the remainder of the season. So let's say that they keep running what they're running. You know, we got Kobe White at the 1. They're playing like Caruso sometimes at the 3. I mean, Dosunmu realistically at the 2 right now. They've got DeRozan at the 4, which is a little small, but it's okay. And Vooch at the 5. Even if you change things up and maybe put Caruso as your 6th man and had Torrey Craig once he comes back starting, or even Drummond, and that lineup's really worked down the stretch, still, the bench is just not looking as good as it could be in my opinion. Realistically, what I'm going to be looking at here is Torrey Craig as a bench player this season. 6 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, not a steal, not a block, 21 minutes a game, lots of time there. Has shot the ball pretty well from 3, but just not a lot of attempts once again. That's the biggest thing with this bench. Even Drummond, he's putting up 8 and 9 in 17 minutes a game. It's solid production, but he's not stretching the floor, and he has put up some really big numbers when he plays big minutes, but then when he doesn't play minutes, he seems to be discouraged. So him coming off the bench, not always the greatest idea if you're looking to get production out of him. Jevon Carter has been super streaky and not the guy that we thought he was coming into this season. I mean, you can see it right there. 5 points and an assist, half a steal. He's playing 14 minutes a game. He's been in and out of the lineup. You know, the consistency of him playing, it's just not there. 37% from the field, 33 from 3, and hardly any free throws attempted at 60%. I mean, not great. We can see Honorable Batim has only played 6 games, 29% from the field though, but the three-pointer is still solid at 36%. And yeah, I mean, 3 points a game, not really a whole lot happening out of him there either. Dalen Terry, who a lot of people seem to like. I like his defensive upside, but I mean, it's hard to argue the fact that in 10 minutes a game, he's started only 1 game, the only start of his career so far. 40 games played, 39% from the field, 24 from 3. It is 2 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. I'm not too worried about the production. 10 minutes is actually okay. I'm all right with that. It's just the percentages are really not. Even Julian Phillips, we can see 43% from the field. You can kind of deal with that of a rookie. 29% from 3 is not great. And then 2 points, once again, not a whole lot happened. But he's only playing about 8 minutes a game. Terry Taylor, I mean, this guy is what, 6'4", 6'5". We're playing him at power forward or center. Not exactly ideal. Only played in 23 games this season, 7 minutes a game. I mean, he's shot a couple threes, not many, at 22%. Realistically, the only thing he's done is grab an O board or 2, and 50% from the field, but it's usually in garbage time, and people leaving him open based on the defensive scheme the other team's playing. And then Sanogo, not really playing at all. So realistically, you're looking at this bench right now of Torrey Craig, once he comes back, of course, if he comes back, Andre Drummond, Jevon Carter, Batim, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, and Terry Taylor. That is not a bench that you like, and if you're wondering about the advanced stats on that, well, I mean, there it is. We just discussed everything you need to know, and you could see there about the bench just not really producing exactly. And we could see there as well that we've got the advanced stats, and not really a whole lot happening out of the bench. I mean, Drummond's player efficiency rating is very good, but once again, has been in and out of the starting lineup. He is the best on the team at almost a 23 player efficiency rating. The true shooting is at 57% for Andre Drummond, also very solid. That's about league average overall, but the rebounding is insane. 22% offensively, 36 defensive rebound percentage, and 29 overall is absolutely great. And yeah, I mean, the usage is also pretty high on Drummond at almost 22%. Wouldn't expect that. And his VORP, if you're interested in more advanced stats, is 0.5, which is not tremendous. It's just above a replacement level player. Now, when we look into more bench options, we can see Javon Carter having a rough year, about the worst on the team when it comes to a VORP. And you can also see the 8-player efficiency rating, a 48% true shooting. All of those are very bad stats. I mean, the assist percentage, only 12% for a point guard, is pretty rough. And his turnover's not too bad based on his usage, but he's not passing the ball either. So that has to be taken into account. And his offense has been absolutely poor. We can see there when we look at Torrey Craig, only an 11-player efficiency rating. Remember now, about a 14 to 15 is completely league average player efficiency rating, unless you're a defensive stud such as Caruso there. That is a little bit below. You need to really look into those things. It is a bit of a flawed stat, but definitely something to simplify and look at some of the advanced stats there. Torrey Craig, I mean, pretty average across the board when we look at different things there. Not a whole lot happening for him in the advanced stats, same as Dalen Terry. The only thing that really stands out to me for Dalen Terry is it's a modest assist percentage for a guy like him. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad. His turnover percentage is a little high for his usage, so I will give him that. And then Julian Phillips, when we go in and we look at him, his true shooting is actually better than Dalen Terry's. And then we can look at some more. The rebounding is pretty bad, though. No assists, basically no steals. Solid block percentage for sure out of Julian Phillips. That's solid for a rookie, of course. Turnovers, it's okay. It's not bad. It's lower than the usage as a rookie. That's okay. The box plus minus is really bad offensively, though, and that's not what you're looking for. Dalen Terry defensively, I mean, that defensive box plus minus is great. Something to look forward to. Terry Taylor, once again, I mean, just not a whole lot happening out of any of these guys. His offensive rebounding is pretty solid, as I mentioned earlier. His turnovers are very high, though, so it's hard to play him. And once again, he's very small and doesn't pass the ball. And Bateem, in very little amount of time, has been an okay defensive rebounder. His true shooting, of course, is low. His player efficiency rating is at a 3, which is really bad. And his turnovers are the exact same as his usage, with no steals, a little bit on the blocks, and practically no assists. Just a spot-up shooter, but overall pretty negative. Some things to think about for sure is we did a little bit of a deep dive, as you can see, about the Bulls bench rotation. Is this going to be enough? Let me know what you thought about that down in the comment section below. Is this going to be the team that can help us in the playoffs, the bench unit, or is it time for them to finally give in and buy somebody out of the buyout market? Let me know down below in the comment section. Like the video if you did like the video. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one. Sign out.